Hello, my lovelies. Hello, how are you all keeping? I hope everybody's doing great. I'm happy I've got the time today to share another story with your people. Open to hear your advice, your thought, as usual. You share if you want somebody to hear about it, your advice, your likes, if you find it interesting, your subscription, if you find it more interesting or wish to hear more. That would be lovely. Thanks for all those who have been watching. Thanks for the few likes. Thanks for everything. At least somebody's listening. And I know one day an advice will come and that will be so great. I can't wait. So I'm going to talk about today about a little 18-year-old girl, Sakira. It all started around this Monday morning when her grandma gave a call at the police station. She called to file a missing girl complaint because her granddaughter, Sakira, left home since the evening last day before in the evening, and she is not back home. Nobody is heard from her, and this is unlike her because she always communicates her whereabouts to her grandparents because she actually lives with her grandparents. And even if she's not coming home, she always keep them informed about her movement. So when this happened, they decided to give a quote at the police to file a missing girl complaint. And when the police tried to ask questions about what really happened and all, so they said Sakira actually left home the day before in the evening at about 5. She said she will be back home by 10 p.m. So the grandparents went home a little after 11 and she wasn't back home. But she was a 18-year-old, and well, there is nothing bad in her hanging out little after the time she said she'll be coming back home. And well, they didn't find any alarm because she's quite responsible. She knows how to take care of herself, and she's an adult, giving her space. Grandparents were giving her some space. Well, she didn't come home at the time. That's no big deal. So, but when they woke up in the morning and realized she was not still back home, her grandmother went to her room and realized her bed was still made up. That shows she had not even been back. She's not even slept on the bed. That's when they got worried and decided to give a call at the police because they themselves have tried to track her down, calling all the possible people they think she might have hung out with, just leaving voice messages on the people's answering machines and stuff like that, because this actually happened at 1999. Back then, cell phones were not that common. People don't really didn't have cell phone like now, and it was not easy for her grandparents to track her down because they couldn't give her a call or something. So they were just calling people's house phone to see if she might be there or something, but no lead, no response came out from it. So they decided to reach to the police, and the police asked them to come in to the station to give more details and stuff like that. And when they got to the station, they stated everything that they already told the police, but added more stuff like she was going to break up with her boyfriend. And the police asked the grandparents, did she tell people about it? And they said no. They just found out this morning while they were making call, and they had to call one of her friends who told them Sakira had actually been at a place yesterday to talk about it. That's when they found out. So moving now into Sakira, let's get to know who is this girl, who is Sakira, who is this boyfriend she was supposed to break up with, and what happened that she disappeared. Nobody know her whereabouts. Well, Sakira was this young, confident, well-mannered, well-trained girl who lived with the grandparents. When you live with grandmas, grandpappy, popsy, mommy, all that, You get some good upbringing, some wisdom. They get to install some certain level of confidence, maturity, some wisdom words, one or two, like that. That's the upbringing they gave to Sakura. Sakura was very confident young lady. Like she didn't care about what people think about her. She went for whatever she thinks she wants to go for it. She was this confident young girl that like nobody could bring her down. Like, and she knew exactly what she wants, and she always went for it. She would go for whatever she wants. Like, it's this type of girl. Like, she was up there. Nobody's bringing her down. So, and right at the age of 18, she already knew what she wanted to become. She wanted to become a mechanic. She took a lot of interest in that because her granddad was a great mechanic, and she was always beside her granddad, learning one or two tips, and mechanism, and all that. And wow, she's a young girl. She also picked interest in music. She loved to hang out at the club. Typical 18-year-old, hanging out, having fun, and stuff like that. So one of these her days of going out at the club, one of this night, she happened to meet the boyfriend. She's the boyfriend, the best friend told Granny she's was about going to break up with. She happens to meet Dan. Dan was a 21-year-old guy who was an upcoming rapper. She actually met him at the club after one of his sessions, his stage, because he was performing like in clubs and all. He was the upcoming, so he was doing little gigs, little performance here and there in the club. And Sakura happened to like his performance, and after that, he walked up to him and like told him about it. She admire him, admire his works and stuff like that. And his stage name was Drama. This kind of people bring a lot of drama. So, they had a conversation there, and before you know it, one thing led to another, and they were an item. Yeah, Dan was actually 21-year-old. It got so serious that Sakura decided to bring them home to meet her grandparents. Those are her backbone. She's well mannered and she was well trained. Such things like that, she will always tell them because she's somebody who always tell her movements and stuff like that. And she brought them home, and the grandparents were like okay with him because background check, he was okay. He grew up in a well mannered family. He helped with family business. He was a good kid. No issues, no police record, nothing. He was clean. He was a good kid. It was just a few years. He was just 3 years older than their granddaughter, but he was good. He seemed like somebody who was like serious about his future, and top it up, he was from a good family. So grandparents were okay with it. Your granddaughter is 18. He can date a good guy. So they took it from there. Sakura was so serious about the relationship. She became she became his cheerleading. She was always there to support him, back to back, like trying to like elevate him, encouraging, like this girlfriend, like I'm there for you, boo. I'll be there for you while you're walking up and climbing up the ladder to your success to show you I'm serious. So when things go right, we will be right there enjoying themselves. So that's kind of Lady Sakura was with Dan. She was very, very, very supportive of Dan's career until one moment she decided, I could introduce you to my family members that are really into the musical industry. They've got they're really into the big deal. They've got this studio. You could go there if you're good. Who knows? Maybe things can grow up from there. And Sakura took then to her family members that were like really into the musical industry. They had a record studio, and they performed there, and they loved it. And before you know it, he was out with his first album, and before you know it, deals were coming. Dean was really into signing of deals and stuff like that, having contracts, and wow, he was already up there. Just some few moments after meeting Sakura, there are some people that when you meet in your life, the way they invest in your life, you are going up there. Like your dreams are going to, like, they're going to push you, they're going to pray for you, they're going to do whatever it takes for you to be up there. And before you know it, you'll be like asking yourself, how did I even reach here just in the twinkle of an eye? Yeah, that's how some people are. That's just how some people can invest in your life. That was Sakura. So, well, then was now, or let's call it, he was now into a real deal drama. As stage name, he was into a real deal. He was really, what I say, a big rapper now, no more upcoming because now signing deals and stuff. A little along the way, well, things were not sitting up well. That's when Sakura decided to end things with them. Well, his grandparents were not really aware of this. Remember, so when she went missing and called up the friend Felicia, who happened to have told them about this event. So immediately after that evening, when Sakura went and never came back, and the grandparents spoke about Felicia, they decided to call in Felicia to hear more about this story. And Felicia came in, confirmed all what the grandparents said. She said, yes, Sakura came to her, was complaining about then that, wow, he has actually changed after the fame. Well, he will always travel to town, he will always travel to the city. Well, Sakura didn't have any problem with him traveling the city, signing his deals. Remember, she was the backbone of everything. She was there to support him. She was the one who introduced him to the family, who made him, made his light to shine. Some people just need just a little opportunity to get their light. You really have the talent, but they need an open door. Like Sakura was actually this open door to his grace, to his success, like we say. So she didn't have a problem, but when she realized Dan was not just going there for deals, he also was keeping some other girls. That's what actually hurt her, pardon me. That was what hurt her. She was so hurt. She was like, I've stood by this guy, I've stood by him to show him I'm serious. I've done everything like a good loving girlfriend would do. Why is this still seeing some other girls? And the worst is when she comforted him about it, he was not even remorseful. He was like, wow, this is a musical thing. This is the musical industry. Like, it's part of the deal. Like, girls throw themselves at him. Like, he can't refuse. He was not remorseful. Like, he didn't say, oh, baby, I'm sorry. It will never happen again. Stuff like that to show, well, he's serious. But he was even praising himself for what's happening. And he also even mentioned that, well, did you think you were the only one that approached me that day at the club? So many other women did. So don't feel like you're the only one. So Sakura got hurt, and she was explaining all this to Felicia, and right there at that moment, she didn't know, she didn't really want to continue. She didn't want to be in this whole drama thing. So when she made up her mind that, well, she's going to break up with them, that's when she went to talk about confiding her friend, everything that was happening. And she left Felicia's place to actually go meet them to break up. They have been together. She didn't just want to break it up maybe on the phone call or something. She wanted to actually have a conversation with this is somebody she actually loved and cared for. So, according to Felicia, she knows Shakira went to meet Dane. So now she doesn't know how come she's missing. So the police now went to Dane, like, well, you are the last person that saw Shakira. What happened? She was supposed to come and meet you for break up and stuff like that. And Dane was like, yeah, definitely, that's true. Shakira came, told him they should break up, but he was cool about it. In fact, he was relieved because, he was the girl's man now. He had so many other girls, and he didn't want Shakira to like clinch on him or try to control him. He's a big guy now. He's a big rapper. He has so many women at his disposal. So when Shakira came to tell him about it, he was really relieved. He was happy because right in his mind, he was looking for a way to break up with Shakira. So that the breakup was cool. He was not angry or furious at her. He was okay. That and he was asked after the breakup what happened. He said, well, Shakira dropped him off at his parents at about 10, and later on he left again to go meet another lady, one of his numerous girlfriend, Queen. And the police were like, they called the parents, and the parents like said, confirm everything, then said, and the court, the said lady, one of the side chick things, Queen that he met up with, and Queen said everything. Yeah, they met up, they hung out in the motel, they had fun till the next morning. And even though motel receptionist and everybody confirmed having seen him physically there, he was there and he spent the night there with her till next morning. And when they asked her, did he act like strange, furious, like he was actually angry that he had break up with the girlfriend, the girlfriend had broken up with her, and the side chick was, side chick, Queen lady was like, nope, they didn't even so much of talking, they were just more physical, had a nice time. And well, all of his alibi checked, tight, everything was okay. Everybody he said he was with confirmed, even the motel staff, everybody. So now leaving them to no leads. So just like few days after no leads, Shakira's family decided to take things into their hands. They printed a post of her, putting everywhere, like saying she's missing. If everybody has found like in little information, back there it was quite difficult. There were no tracking device. There were not social media. People, it was there, but not like frequent. Not like everybody has got an account now that you see your last move or your last post or your last tweet, or somebody can post, or like a phone to be tracked, or like a tracking device, something like that. 1999 back there was not like now. So the family did their only way, putting flyer posters everywhere to see if somebody had know something. And there, one of Shakira's friend came to buy it at the police station. She said she has seen a post about Shakira missing, and she has information that she thinks might be helpful to the police. And they asked her what that might be. She said, well, there's this one of Dane's numerous girlfriend, Lola, who happens to have a heated argument with Shakira. Actually, her and Shakira were never in good terms. She had actually confronted Shakira to warn her to get off her man. According to her, Dane was her man. Yeah, she had actually walked up to Shakira to threaten her to leave her man Dane alone. So, well, there could be a positive motive. The police were like, okay, this is another lead. They brought in Lola for questioning. And Lola was like, well, yeah, she did that, but she has nothing to do with her disappearance. We're like, well, there is a motive here. She was, according to you, she was with your mind. And she was like, well, that was before she knew who actually Dane was. And the police were like, what do you mean by that? She said, well, she didn't realize Dane was having so many other ladies, you know. Dane would tell her she was the main girl, like, and she, like, Dane was a play guy. Whoever, whomever he's with, he would ensure you that, oh, you are the main girl, like love of my life. So that made Lola to think like Sakura was a side chick and confronted her like leave my money alone. But when she actually realized what was going on, she was like she stepped back for it and maybe even she forgot about it and all that. That's what she told them. So she wouldn't even waste her energy to want to hurt Sakura because actually it was not just her and Sakura, there was so many others. So she didn't bother about it much. So when they asked her actually, okay, where were you during the time of the murder? Well, she happened to be far away, far away, like an hour away from their town. She happened to be family members, and when they called to check, her alibi was tight and everything, everything was confirmed what she said. So this left police again with no lead, nothing, nothing was happening. Like after a month of nothing, they decided to like keep the case closed, not like throw it away, like just keep it aside because there were no more leads to focus on something else. It was not that quite easy in those days to search or without technologies like now without tracking the rest and all that. So they just kept the case inside. Maybe if some other leads come up, they'll like reopen the case like police detectives always do. And like just 2 months after Sakura got missing, one of her cousins was actually visiting a friend at this apartment complex and decided to walk by a car that looks exactly like Sakura's car, but he was not certain. So he quickly gave a call to Sakura's grandmom and asked Sakura's plate number, and her grandmom said, and it matched with what he was looking like right in front of him, and he immediately called the detective, and the detective came immediately, found this car at this apartment complex, and like looking around, I secured the area already, and we're looking around like what's happening. Well, there was nothing strange to what opened the trunk of the car and they found a partly decomposed body. Wow, this is so sad. But they couldn't identify if it was Sakura because the body was really decomposed in a state that they couldn't really identify if it was Sakura. They had to send it for autopsy. But right there, they realized the body had not owned this on. So police, the detective were like wondering, could this have been an assault? Case of assault or burglary or theft, something like that. Was she abducted and was she sexually abused and left dead and something like when they don't find especially clothes on or especially on this, that's what the detective will start imagining. But till the autopsy comes out, nothing is confirmed. So they had to break the sad news to the family. Wow, the family was relieved. Well, relief and sad at the same time. Well, they were relieved, like they now know she's not missing. They now know what happened to her. They now know she's dead. They were like, wow, sad, she's dead. Found in the trunk 2 months later, well decomposed. Like, while this was going on, they had to like share the new report. Now the missing girl that has gone missing for 2 months has been found dead in the trunk. And police were trying to get a lead now. Looking around at the apartment complex, there were no CCTV cameras to like see what actually dropped the car or what happened. How did her car get there? And questioning neighbors, they were like, wow, they actually noticed this car, but there was nothing strange or nothing to pinpoint because so many people have got car like in the big apartment complex like that, there are so many people that got cars that just keep it there and they go to work using communal transportation. They will not use their cars for a certain period of times. Nothing struck them out of the ordinary why they should but they actually noticed the car, but they couldn't tell when the car was actually dropped there. So police got no big leads. They now had to wait for the autopsy to maybe determine determine the cause of death. And when the autopsy came, it was confirmed Sakura was shot the head, single bullet to the head. There was no trace of sexual assault despite the unders being missing. And wow, this made police to start thinking, did the person who did this, did they actually try to cover up their tracks by making it seem like it was sexual assault or burglary or theft something? So when the news got out there, a certain lady walked into the police station and said, well, after she read what happened to this the young lady, she needs to give some information that might be helpful to the police. And the police were like, oh, they're all ears, anything can lead to a lead. And this happened to Monique. She said she happened to have dated him right before she started dating Sakura, and then was this abusive person, then was abusive towards her physically, emotionally, and then had actually pointed a gun to her head. So when she saw Sakura was dead by a single cut shot, she thought this much of a coincidence. She has to share her story with the police. Maybe they can be a lead, maybe they can be a match, or it's just coincidence, but she needs to share this information. And the police now, they were thankful for that, and this made them to look more into Dan's story. Well, when he told them everything, everything check, they didn't have any reason because everything, his alibi was tight, everything he said did match. But when this lady Monique came and spoke about him being abusive and the rest, and the fact that he had actually pointed a gun to her, this made them to revisit what he has said and try to go step by step to actually see if everything is match or there's a little tiny hole that might make them to suspect him. And they realized, well, everything did match, but his parent, when they had called the parent to confirm, they said everything was okay. He came home by 10 and left back again after a few minutes and came back home in the morning. But they didn't quite confirm the fact that Sakura dropped him off. Actually, they didn't see Sakura physically. The son just said Sakura just dropped him off, but they didn't see him. Well, that is a little hole to pin it on him, but wow, whoa, the parents were in the house. Sakura might have dropped him off and didn't want to get in since they just broke up, they're no longer an item. But this made police everything needs to be looked at into tolerate. Now, this guy, the guy that I think was a sweet, nice little guy, where he has a little history. Back then, they didn't think anything much about him. Hey, he was not involved in any illegal activities. He was not a guy on the street. He was this good guy, But now an ex has actually said something, so they need to look at him more detailed. So they now brought him back into questioning, second interview. And he was cool. He came in, he was cool, everything. And they told him what they think, wow, they brought him in for another interview. Is there any update or something he forgot that he might want to share with them? And he still confirmed with the story that, well, the broken was smooth. He was not angry, there was nothing, And they went their separate ways. And they were like, we've got a ex-girlfriend that come up and said you were actually abusive to her and actually threatened her with a gun on the head. So this is not just coincidence with the fact that Sakura was dead with a single gun shot to the head. Do you mind to tell us more what happened? And he was shocked like, Monique, How come you guys know about a past relationship? How come you guys know about the abuse? How come you guys know I threatened her with a gun? There and then story changes. He confessed to have shot Sakura, but out of self-defense. He was like, okay, he still maintained the fact that Sakura had come to break up with him, or everything was cool, he was cool. Just before Sakura wanted to leave, he asked for his gun, and the police were like, "What gun?" He said, "Well, he had actually given Sakura a gun for no, to protect himself, to protect herself from any danger, especially during the period that she had confrontation and stuff. She had actually gave Sakura this gun to protect herself from any danger around her. So when she asked Sakura to give him back the gun, Sakura was like, okay, it's at the car locker. When he headed towards it, Sakura was like, give me the gun, let me say what. Let me show you something. And he was like, no, I'm not giving the gun. This is not something to play. Just give it up some stories. And Sakura was like, no, and let me have the gun. I want to show you something. And they were going back and forth with the gun, struggling. And before you know it, the gun went out and shot Sakura. And the police didn't really buy this. And they were like, if this is and he was like, oh, after he realized what happened, he was scared. He didn't want to go to the police because he knew nobody was going to believe him. That's when he stuck up Sakura on the trunk and drove to the apartment complex where they found his car and dropped there. And the police didn't buy this. They were like, if this was an accident, why did you pretend all this while you didn't know where she was? Why didn't you even reach out to the family? Like, you could have told somebody confidentially, like, even there's this one person. If you really cared about this person and it was really an accident, you were scared about going to the police, you could have told even just one person. You didn't say a word, and you went immediately, called another one of your side chick, went and have sexual activities where I had fun. Like, it's just like you were celebrating the moment, like you were not even remorseful. Because somebody was remorseful, like maybe will go and sit in a corner, will like sit quiet for a while, trying to process what had happened, or afterwards might have spoken to somebody. But no, you did the opposite. You went, called a lady, had fun with her at the motel, came back the next morning. All this while, 2 months where people were looking for her, her family was searching. You behaved like nothing was happening. The police didn't buy this at all to be a accident. So then was arrested for murder and he was taken in for custody. And when his hearing started in 2001, all his defense team, they were all like trying to pinpoint, trying to put him out there like this sweet guy Sakura met. He was okay, he's helpful to his family, upcoming rapper, stuff like that. He was, trying to give him out there like this good guy stuff. But the jury didn't buy this. They found him guilty, murder, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment plus 5 years. But there was possibility of parole after just 32 years of his serving. Like, I think that is 2033. He will have possibility for parole and stuff like that. So, well, that's what actually happened. It turned out he was the killer, and the jury like trying to imagine what happened that day. They were more like, whoa, Sakura went to break up with him, and he didn't take that lightly. He was this guy that ladies were falling at his feet. Like, he was like, that's just the jury's thinking, like trying to imagine what has happened. Like, they didn't take the breakup lightly. They was like, well, like, like, who are you to break up with me? I have a lot of ladies standing on my feet. Who are you to break up with me? And his ego was hurt, and there and there he decided, he brought out his gun through the argument like with her and shot her. That's what the myth of what actually happened in the events. But nobody really know, because they was sticking to his story of it was an accident. So, but my stake was, you have so many women, why didn't you just let this poor lady go? Like, since nobody actually knew if there was abused whilst during their relationship, because Sakura never really mentioned but he seems like a violent person, because just the fact that you've not accepted that a lady will break up with you, meanwhile you have so many other ladies, it's not good. You should have just let this girl walk away, you know. So anyway, share your thoughts, share your advice, what you think, what red flags you think might somebody might share. Find how somebody can get out of this kind of toxic relationship, before it's too late. This breakup, I think Sakira never imagined that would have happened. If not, she could have just broken up over the phone. She knew this was a good person. She had to break up with him in person, not knowing. Anyway, share your thoughts. I'll be looking at comment section for any advices. If you love the storytelling, you like, thumbs up, whatever, that would be lovely. I hope this helps somebody out there. I hope your advice helps somebody out there. Let's keep safe. We all. Bye.